This is the story of how Rocky Mount, North Carolina, a city of 54,000 people, burned through nearly $80 million in cash in just 2 years, and almost nobody noticed until it was too late. A city that has won the All-America City Award not once, but twice. A city built on cotton, tobacco, and railroads. A city that survived one of the worst natural disasters in North Carolina history. And now, a city teetering on the edge of the largest municipal financial collapse the state has ever seen. To understand how Rocky Mount got here, you need to understand what Rocky Mount has already survived. In September of 1999, Hurricanes Dennis and Floyd sent the Tar River surging over its banks, submerging more than 8 square miles of the city. That's over 20% of the entire municipality underwater. 35 people died. Economic losses across the region topped $6 billion. Tarrytown Mall, once a commercial hub for all of eastern North Carolina, sat flooded and rotting in weeds for nearly 6 years before being demolished in 2006. It became a symbol of everything the city had lost. But Rocky Mount rebuilt. Slowly, painfully, it rebuilt. The economy diversified into biomedical pharmaceuticals, manufacturing, and logistics. The city pushed forward. What it could not survive, apparently, was its own leadership. In December 2022, the Rocky Mount City Council voted unanimously to appoint Keith C. Rogers Jr. as city manager. Rogers came from Dumfries, Virginia, a small town along the Interstate 95 corridor, southwest of Washington, D.C. He held a political science degree and a Master of Public Administration from Virginia Commonwealth University. On paper, a reasonable hire. But the executive search firm the city paid $38,000 to find him had flagged Rogers as a stretch candidate, someone who did not meet all the qualifications but might be able to grow into the role. The state auditor's report later found no evidence that the city conducted reference checks or any other due diligence before handing him the keys to a municipality with 54,000 people. And here is the thing. Had anyone picked up the phone, they might have learned that Rogers had already overseen a $1 million budget overspend in Dumfries. History was about to repeat itself on a scale no one imagined. Rogers started work in March of 2023, and almost immediately, spending began to climb. Police salaries jumped 47%. Firefighter salaries rose 22%. A 12.2% increase was applied to the city's minimum salary range. Employee compensation across the board surged 27% over 2 fiscal years. Capital purchases exploded by 153% in fiscal year 2024 alone. And the crown jewel of the spending spree? $17.2 million for 336 acres of land intended for a casino and entertainment complex. A casino that, as of today, has not materialized. The debt for that land purchase was structured using a 59-month installment financing instrument, a move that conveniently avoided triggering oversight from the state's local government commission. Whether that was clever financing or deliberate evasion depends on who you ask. The state treasurer at the time called it concerning. Meanwhile, revenue was not growing. It was actually declining by 2%. So you had a city spending dramatically more money while bringing in slightly less. The math does not work. It never works. Between August of 2023 and August of 2025, the city's cash and investment balances dropped 78%, from roughly $100 million down to $21.8 million. Gone. And nobody in charge seemed to notice because the city had not reconciled its checking account for 13 months. 13 months without balancing the books. That was a violation of basic, generally accepted accounting principles, the most basic function of financial management, and it simply was not happening. Now, to be fair, not everyone was asleep. Council members Andre Knight and Reuben Blackwell started raising alarms in 2023. They were suspicious of city management. They voiced their concerns publicly, but the rest of the council was not convinced, not until the numbers finally came in and proved just how dire the situation had become. Blackwell would later say, We are seeking a forensic auditor to come in and look for anything that could possibly be illegal. Because you got to. It's not a little bit of money we're talking about. It's a lot of money. And we're still trying to get to the bottom of it. The finance department itself was in chaos. Rocky Mount cycled through 5 finance directors. The city had not had a truly qualified finance director since 2001, according to the current city manager. The revolving door started spinning after longtime director Amy Staton left in 2021. Rogers then brought in his own pick for the role, the only candidate considered in the recruitment process, which the auditor's report called a predetermined outcome. That director lasted exactly 1 year. Rogers also had a habit of splitting contracts, so they fell below the threshold requiring council approval. The mayor himself confirmed this during a press conference, saying Rogers bifurcated contracts so that they fell below the minimum threshold. Jobs were created, money was spent, and the council had no idea. By August of 2024, Rogers was placed on administrative leave. He resigned the following month. He is now serving as a county administrator in Charles City County, Virginia. The full scope of the damage was not revealed to the public until September of 2025, when city leaders finally admitted they had been spending millions more than they brought in each month for 2 consecutive years. The state auditor's performance audit, released in March of 2026, laid it out in devastating clarity. State Auditor Dave Boliak said simply that the city had spent more than it had, and that costs were going up while cash took a nosedive at an incredibly fast pace. And then he added the line that should chill every Rocky Mount resident to the bone. He said that if the city of Rocky Mount were not able to continue as a going concern, it would be the largest failure of a municipality in the history of the state of North Carolina. Unlike Detroit, which filed the largest Chapter 9 municipal bankruptcy in U.S. history in 2013, North Carolina does not allow cities to declare bankruptcy. The state takes over instead. This puts Rocky Mount in a more precarious position than other municipal collapses like Stockton, California, or Vallejo, California, where bankruptcy provided a path to restructure debt. The local government commission had actually flagged Rocky Mount as a municipality in financial distress for 3 consecutive years before the audit. They warned about declining revenue, delayed financial reporting, and chronic budget overruns. Those warnings went unheeded. Now the city is scrambling. 100 full-time employees have been laid off, roughly 10% of the workforce. Residents are paying 15% more for electricity, gas, water, sewer, and trash collection. About $20 more per month for natural gas, and $8 more for electricity. The median household income is $55,000, and nearly 1 in 5 residents lives in poverty. State Treasurer Brad Briner said it is not sustainable to ask citizens to shoulder the burden of budget mismanagement. The city needs to cut $30 million in spending over the next 10 months. Its general fund balance has gone negative. The local government commission has issued a final warning requiring financial reports submitted twice a month, indefinitely. If the numbers slip again, the state takes over. That has happened only a dozen times in state history, and Rocky Mount would be the largest municipality to ever lose control of its own finances. Briner offered one piece of cold comfort. He said it almost never gets this bad. When it does, it is usually because it is terminal. Usually because a business has moved, or a large population base has left. This is not that. This is simply a failure of will. A failure of will. That might be the most damning description of all. Rocky Mount did not lose its industry. It did not lose its people to some unstoppable economic shift. It lost its money because the people in charge either could not or would not pay attention. A stretch candidate who no one bothered to vet. A finance department with a revolving door. A $17 million bet on a casino that does not exist. And a checking account that went unbalanced for over a year. Mayor Sandy Robertson said it best, even if he said it far too late. He said the most painful part of this situation is that our residents are bearing the consequences. That weighs heavily on him. He said they are deeply sorry that this was not discovered sooner, when recovery would have been less difficult. Rocky Mount has survived floods. It has survived economic transformation. Whether it survives its own governance remains to be seen.